and welcome to the class on multiple random variables. So today we are going to study a new concept on random variables, but I would like to review to you what has happened so far. So on the module 1, what we've seen is we looked at a single random variable. Let's consider an example. Like we have conducted an experiment and measured the temperature at different instants of time. Let us assume that this is a discretized experiment. So we are going to be conducting an experiment, let's say at 10 o'clock and taking a measurement of the temperature. Next at 10:15, and next at 10:30, next at 10:45, and next at 11 o'clock. So we have about 4 to 5 set of readings. And let us say that we conduct this experiment on a second day at the same time, and on a third day at the same time. And in this process, we evaluate the occurrence of these values of different temperature. So using this, we can actually plot something called probability mass function that we saw in module 1. Okay, so now in module 1, we looked at temperature as a separate entity and we got the probability mass function out of it. And let's say another variable, random variable, humidity. We looked at it again as another entity and we conducted an experiment and found the probability mass function. How is this second module going to be different? In this, we are going to track temperature and humidity at in the same experiment. That is, what is the probability that temperature and humidity happen at the same time? That is our interest right now. We are interested in simultaneous behavior of two different random variables. Okay. So basically, in many applications, it is important to study two or more random variables defined on the sample space. So the various examples could be, as we discussed, temperature and humidity, which we are going to take a little forward and look at a problem also. Then we look at rainfall and groundwater charging. More so in our courses, we look at voltage and current, the simultaneous behavior of these two phenomena, and in communication, signal and noise. So we start off with discretized random variables. X is a random variable, Y is another random variable, but both are discrete. So we are looking at the joint occurrence of both these different random variables. And supposedly we are looking at a continuous behavior of two random variables. Like here I have talked about temperature, right? Temperature, I said, took the temperature at 10 o'clock, then at 10:15 and so on. Then I'm talking about discrete. If I'm continuously taking the measurement, I will have a continuous graph, right? Then in that case, if I'm looking at temperature and humidity simultaneously, then I look at them as continuous random variables. It is also possible that one of the random variables, X, is discrete and the other is continuous, and vice versa. It's possible. But this third case we are not going to explore in our course. We only look at the situation when both of them are discrete and when both of them are continuous. And we denote X comma Y as a two-dimensional random variable. This is the notation. Please note that this is going to be the notation, X comma Y. In the first chapter, you would have just said X or you would have said Y. You would have talked only about these two different random variables. Now, since we are talking about the joint behavior, I'm looking at X comma Y. This is a notation. Please note that this is going to be a notation. So now going back to first module, this is what we looked at. Now see that temperature is 0, temperature is 1 degree Celsius. I'm just giving an example. Just for understanding purpose, I have not marked any scale as such. Let's say temperature 0. The probability of occurrence is 0.06. Probability of occurrence of temperature 1 degree Celsius is 0.16, and so on. This is just an example to drive home the point, that's all. Okay, so I have taken 4 occurrences of different temperatures and the probability, and I'm saying that these are the only probable temperatures possible. Let's say in a particular region, it is only going to take these 4 4 different values, that's all. And this is the probability of occurrence. Now this is talking in module 1, right? We are still looking at x as a random variable representing temperature. So just keep it in your mind that x is a single random variable and y on this side is a single random variable, and it is taking values 0, 1, 2, 3 with various probability of occurrences. Okay. So all of this, you know, that is going to add up to becoming a 1. When you sum up this probability mass function, they become 1. Here also they become 1. That's the property of a probability mass function. So we have studied that in module 1. Now what exactly we are going to look at in module 2 is the joint occurrence. When we look at a joint occurrence, you conducted an experiment and we look at something like this. X denoting temperature and Y denoting humidity. We are looking at the joint behavior, and the joint behavior of both happening is taking various values. So these are the numbers that is indicating that the temperature was 1. This number indicates that the temperature is 1 degrees and humidity is 0. That's the number over here. Okay, so that is what we need to understand. Now let us look at it more from a notation point of view. We are calling probability mass function not merely a probability mass function PMF as we called in module 1. We are going to call it joint probability mass function. We define the joint probability mass function of a 2-dimensional discrete random variable. Please note that it is x comma y as p of xi comma yj is equal to x equal to xi comma y equal to yj, but actually this implies, this comma is going to imply random variable taking a value xi, the first random variable taking a value xi, and the second random variable taking a value yj. Like I discussed, x taking a value 1 and y taking a value 0 is 0.04. And we know that the probability of the joint occurrence, this is just in line with module 1, we are just going to extend it. Joint probability is going to be greater than or equal to 0. As seen in this tabular column, there is no value which is negative. And after having conducted this experiment, if you add up all these numbers, they are going to sum up to be a 1. That is neatly documented in this single statement. The summation of all these points is going to be 1. Now, this is looking at x equal to x and y equal to y, right? Exact probability that this equal to has happened. Now just look at this particular case where we are looking at x less than equal to 3 and y less than equal to 2. The probability of occurrences of these phenomena simultaneously. Again, you have to look at it simultaneously. So how do I go back and look at it here? And this is neatly documented as a CDF, cumulative distribution function, f of 3, 2, capital F of 3, 2. If I had to write a notation for it, I would have written f subscript xy, capital XY, saying that it's a joint CDF. So we are just going to the joint CDF of the discrete random variable right now, which is p of x less than equal to 3 and y less than equal to 2. So x less than equal to 3, you can imagine an imaginary line that is drawn over here. All the points which lie to the left of this, x less than equal to 3, you have to consider 0, 1, 2, 3, all these points, and as well you need to consider y less than equal to 2. So all the points above this. So basically, if I have to sum up all these points from 0, 1, 2, 3 and 0, 1, 2. So if you sum up all these points, 0 plus 0.04, 0.05 plus 0.07 and so on and so forth till this point. This is what you are getting here. and you get that as 0.55. So going by this understanding, what would it be if I say probability of x less than infinity and y less than equal to infinity? You know that in module 1, if I had said probability of x less than equal to infinity for a single random variable, it would be 1. This you could imagine as all the strengths adding up to becoming a 1, right? Likewise, even here, if you add up all of this, it's going to come up to be a 1. So that I can also write as f of infinity comma infinity. So last point, before we go to the next topic, I would like to stress, in module 1, you'd been given two random variables separately, temperature and humidity separately specified. You got PMF and you got the probability mass function separately. This is what is here. Okay, this is in module 1 context. In context of module 2, you conducted an experiment such that you saw the joint behavior simultaneously, and this is what you obtained. Now, is it possible for me to get back to the single random variable concept? I want the probability mass function of the single random variable. Is it possible for me? Yes, it is possible. Just by looking at this tabular column itself, you could see that if you add up all this line, 0 plus 0.04 plus 0.05, 0.07, 0.09, you get 0.25, which is probability that y equal to 0. Similarly, probability that y equal to 1, the humidity value to be taken as 1, you add up all these values, you get this 0.28. Likewise, this, and you have generated, if you just look at this very carefully, you have generated the probability mass function of the single random variable y, which is humidity. Similarly, if you add the columns like this at these positions at 0, probability that x equal to 0, you would get back this. Probability of x equal to 1, you get 0.16. So this is what you have here. Okay. So doing that, you are able to extract back the marginal PMF. Marginal PMF, in other words, is another technical word or another nomenclature for single random variable. You've extracted out the single random variable from the joint random variable x comma y, the probability mass function of it.